Two things really jumped out to me there, Carlene.
Yes.
One is that the people who have been through this before are taking heed and getting out. And then the fact that they've described this as a hurricane that has it all, not something you want to hear.
Not something you want to hear, especially when you're talking about a Cat 4 hurricane. So you have those damaging winds. You're talking about heavy rainfall. Lonnie even made reference to Asheville. We'll get to that coming up real quick too. But storm surge, that is going to be the biggest concern with this. You're talking about a 15 to 20 foot wall of water rushing on shore. So that's why a lot of people in that area for the Big Bend region of Florida are taking this serious. And they're going to continue to, especially as we are watching this storm system get closer. So when we set it in motion, you can see the eye of that storm right there with Helene, right about there, moving closer towards Florida. As we go into tonight, we take a closer look at just how far out it is from actually making that landfall. So you're still talking about the next few hours, keeping a close eye. Now we're less than about 100 miles out, and that's where its projected path is. So we're going to continue to keep a close eye on this storm system with Helene, talking about a major Cat 4 hurricane as of the latest update. Tornado watches have been issued across the state of Florida. You're seeing that basically for most of Florida and extending all the way in towards Georgia, as well as tropical storm warnings for South Florida, because they're getting those type of impacts with some of those tropical storm force winds extending out by a few hundred miles. So we're looking at Helene, and it has a very well-defined center of circulation with this. So as we've mentioned, been talking about it, it's a storm that has it all. So you're talking about the life-threatening storm surge, about 15 to 20 feet projections for the Big Bend area of Florida. On top of that, heavy rainfall is also anticipated with this. Lonnie was just talking about Asheville. That's because with the latest forecast track, it does show this storm system moving a little bit more towards the north. So you're talking about movement right now out of the north-northeast at about 23 miles per hour. So it's definitely picked up some pace. It was slower yesterday over the Gulf of Mexico, around 9 miles per hour around this time. And that's why it was allowed to strengthen, because of those warm waters over the Gulf. And as mentioned, it continues to make that track towards the north. Now, when talking about Asheville and places across the southeast, we are also talking about heavy rainfall. So this storm not only has the damaging winds, it has a storm surge, but also rainfall, maintaining that hurricane status, even moving in towards Georgia as well as North Carolina. Pinpointing Asheville, as it was mentioned in a special report, a report has actually been issued that record flooding is forecasted and has been compared to really severe flooding they had in Asheville that goes all the way back to 1916. This will be the most significant weather event because they're going to be right there getting most of that in what we call the dirty sector, the northeast quadrant of this storm system as it makes its way towards the north. And we'll still be talking about this in the days ahead, all the way into the start of the weekend, as it does have to rain itself out once it does start to lose some of those hurricane characteristics. We'll continue to keep you updated, and of course, your local weather too. Back to you, Tim.
Largest hurricane to hit the United States in over a year, but as we mentioned, this one really packs a more serious punch because of just all those elements you just mentioned. Thank you, Carlene.
You're very welcome.